Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. It is your girl, the homemade foodie, back again with another tutorial. Today we are working on a one pan chicken and rice. Today I'll be using dark meat. I'm using all bone-in, skin-on chicken thighs. Now you can use white meat or drumsticks if you have those, or a combination of the two. This is just what I had in my fridge. I'm going to get both sides of the chicken seasoned with a little bit of kosher salt, some freshly ground pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, and paprika. Once I get both sides of the chicken seasoned thoroughly, then we'll set it to the side and let that marinate. We're just going to be doing a quick marinade on this for about 30 to 45 minutes. But if you have more time, of course, you can definitely marinate the chicken for a lot longer. I'm putting a little bit of kosher salt underneath the skin as well to make sure that everything is seasoned thoroughly. And then we're going to get that chicken wrapped up and put to the side. Now we're going to work on getting our sausage cut up and prepped. Today I'm using a smoked beef sausage, but you can use whatever you have available. This is what I had in my freezer. I'm going to get the sausage cut into smaller pieces and diced up. Once we finish working on getting our sausage cut up, then we will get started on our veggies and get those sliced up for our dish as well. As I mentioned with the sausage, I am utilizing two different types of bell pepper in the recipe today, a red bell pepper and a green bell pepper, but you can use whatever kind you have available. Red bell pepper is going to be a little sweeter, and then the green bell pepper is going to be more savory. Try to get out most of those seeds before I get the bell pepper sliced up. In this recipe, I do like to keep the bell peppers chunkier or on a larger slice. Because it's going to be cooking for about 30 to 40 minutes, I personally don't want my bell peppers to be too small. So I just slice them up a little bit larger so that they have that texture that I want once everything is cooked and complete. So we got our red bell peppers cut up there. And then we'll get our green bell peppers working. And we're going to cut those roughly about the same size as our red bell pepper. And then once we get those cut up, we'll get started on our onion. I'm using a yellow onion, but you could use white onions or purple onions, whichever you prefer. This is going to be a little bit sweeter, and I just give that a rough chop. So now that we got our onion chopped up, I went ahead and started on my garlic. I just got it sliced up and diced it up a little bit more. I don't use a lot of oil when I am cooking this dish, and the reason why is because we are using chicken thighs. and that chicken skin does have a lot of fat in it. So I do start my skillet off, get it pretty hot on a medium high. I added just a little bit of avocado oil, and I actually wiped most of it out because you get a lot of fat from dark meat and the skin on the chicken. So the first thing that I'm doing is rendering some of the fat from the beef sausage. So I get that in the skillet, saute it down for a couple of minutes. Again, this sausage is smoked so it's quick. So we are really just pulling out some of that fat. The fat is where the flavor is. And then we'll sear off our chicken in the fat from the beef sausage. So we're trying to layer flavor in every step in your dish. You want to put as much flavor as you can. So we stole off a little bit of fat from our sausage. Now I'm going to put that to the side, and I'll be adding this in towards the end. Nice, beautifully browned beef sausage. Then we're going to sear off our chicken thighs. We are not completely cooking this until we add in all the rest of our ingredients, and then it's going to kind of braise down a little bit. So we're going to get a nice sear on the outside of the meat. I'm starting skin side down so that I can render the fat from the skin, and then we'll give that a toss. That was about 4 to 5 minutes a side, depending on the size of the thigh. As you can see, I had 2 really small ones and 2 larger ones. Obviously, the smaller ones are not going to take as much time as the larger ones. Once we get a nice little crust on the outside of the skin, we're going to take that out, set it to the side, and we're going to get started on giving our bell peppers and onions a quick saute as well. So I did add in just a little bit more avocado oil, and then we'll go ahead and start to saute our vegetables. And I'm going to add in red bell pepper, green bell pepper, onion. Give that a few minutes, and then we'll add in our garlic because we don't want our garlic to burn. Now we're going to get this sauteed. All of the seasoning from the bottom of the pan is going to start to scrape off, and once those vegetables start to sweat and release their water, all of the seasoning on the bottom of the pan will start to come off. And then when we add our chicken broth, you'll scrape off the rest of that flavor as well. So now that I've let that saute for a few minutes, I say it was about 3 minutes, give or take. And then I'm going to add in our chopped garlic. And I literally just stir that in until it's fragrant. And then once it's fragrant, then I'm going to add in our rice. So I like to saute the rice in the seasonings, in the pan, in the oils, in the veggies before I add everything to it, because it kind of takes that raw flavor from the rice. So we get that, again, long grain white rice. I use the 1.5 cups, and we'll get that stirred in. And you'll use 1 part rice to 2 parts liquid of your choice. This is homemade chicken broth. You can use store-bought chicken broth. You can use water and add bouillon to it, whatever you prefer. I think stock gives rice a lot more flavor, so that's my preference. I get that worked in. Again, I'm scraping all of the flavor that was on the bottom of the pan. I'm going to add in a salt-free Creole by Tony Chachere's that I absolutely love. And it just reinforces the flavor. It has dried garlic, I think, onion powder in it. Definitely has some paprika and some Creole seasonings, without adding any sodium into the dish. You don't have to add salt to add flavor. So once I add in that, I'm going to also add in 2 bay leaves. This is, again, a personal preference. You don't have to add the bay leaf in. I do think that bay leaf gives beans and stewed foods wonderful flavor, especially when you're going to be cooking them for a longer period of time. So again, adding a layer of flavor without having to add in any salt. So we're going to nestle in our chicken thighs into this stock and rice. And then we're going to also add in the sausage that we browned off. And the chicken is going to continue to cook. Add the juices. That's settled. Add your sausage. Get everything nestled in so that it's partially covered with most of that cooking liquid. And then once we get everything nestled in, we're going to put a lid on it and you're going to let it cook for about 35-ish minutes. The reason I say that is because really it depends on how much rice you're using, how much stock you're using, and how quickly that liquid evaporates. Since this chicken is not completely cooked, it's still letting off liquid itself, right? So we added in stock, we added in liquid, and all of that has to absorb. This is going to be your complete product. It turned out amazing. Nice fluffy rice. The bell peppers still had great texture to them, and the chicken was cooked all the way through. Nice and juicy. Definitely give this one a try. It's very quick and easy. Also, please like and subscribe. We'll have more tutorials soon. Thanks, guys.